Hey guys, it's Prayer coming at you again with another informational video about some of the Simcraft machines. Simcraft for Minecraft. Today we're going to talk about the fermenter. We've covered the distillery in another video. Be sure and look for that one. But this morning we're going to talk about the fermenter. They kind of work hand in hand, kind of side by side, if you will. The fermenter, what it does is kind of like think of it like a pressure cooker, if you will. It doesn't require any throttle, so there's no fuel. It doesn't take fuel. It takes, when you put the ingredients together, just kind of pretty much does its own thing. So that's kind of nice. As long as you're around it, the chunk is loaded, it's working. Let's go ahead and open it up, take a look and see what it's doing. One of the videos that I covered the other day, I didn't cover this deal right here. I'm going to touch on that first. This is the question mark. It tells you what you're making. Currently we're making yeast right now because we have distilled water in there and some black grapes. Let me grab some black grapes because it looks like it's going a little low on black grapes. It'll probably hold all of those. And we just put that in there. This is the input side. This is the output side. And it's not going to hold all of them. If I want to just leave those there, as long as it's working, it's got distilled water. You notice it just went down to 22. And it's going to stop. And the reason it stopped is we're making yeast, or we were. Remember, it had yeast right up here. The yeast is now full. So we need to take the yeast back out of there in order to be able to make some more. So let's go ahead and pull our grapes out. Now, to get the ingredients out of the fermenter, you can imagine it's a big pressure cooker, if you will. It's a big pot. So what we're going to need is we're going to need a scoop. Let's get this yeast scoop, and we're going to put that in there. And we're going to click the yeast. We want the yeast to come out. And it's going to pull the yeast out for us. And voila, there's our yeast. We can pull the scoop back out because we don't need that anymore. Now let's uncheck this again. And look here. Now we're making yeast again. It's going to use the black grapes, the distilled water, and it's going to create yeast for us. Now, what's the yeast for? Okay, the reason I'm using this, the reason I'm using the fermenter is because if you look in one of my other videos, yeast is one of the ingredients that I need to make coolant or coal gas. I've got my thing open right here. Well, it's not making anything. I don't have an accelerator in here. There's no coal in there to burn anything because right now I'm pretty full. I've got everything I need in that one. But that's another video, so let's not get into this. Back to the fermenter. So I'm going to put in the description a link to the wiki for the fermenter. Much like the distillery, there are an ingredient table or a recipe book, if you will. Shows you what you can make and things like that. And it's kind of cool because look at some of the things that you can put in here. Plum fruit and corn. Apples, you put some of those things in there, and some of the stuff that you're going to be able to get out of is like a corn lager, a rice lager, wheat lager, rye lager, obviously yeast. We're making yeast right now. So I mean, those things are going to be used also in the distillery later on to make some ales and some brandy and different things that are common to Simcraft for Minecraft. So this is a very important machine. Fermenter. The reason it says 171 right here, this is the maintenance level. Okay, when this hits 0, your fermenter goes boom, just like on the distillery if you guys saw my other video. So let's do some maintenance on it just so I can show you guys what the maintenance is like. We're going to grab our mash hammer, same exact tool that we used on the distillery. We're going to just put that in our hand and let's go ahead and hit that a couple of times, round it back out, and now we're back up to 240 again. So we're rounding it back out. We're knocking out the dents because it is a pressure cooker. So we want to make sure that everything is in working order so we don't lose this thing. If this thing got to 0 and I had all the grapes in there and the distilled water and yeast, and let's say these lines were all full, all those things are gone. You just wasted all that time and all those ingredients and stuff. It's just gone. We definitely don't want that to happen. Alright, let's go back and start from the beginning. How do we make a fermenter? Well, I want another one, so let's go make one. First of all, in our recipe book, which again is in another video, how to make the forging book, let's open that up. Let's see if we can't find the fermenter. There it is right there. So we're going to take 6 stainless steel sheets and 2 iron rods. So here's the body of the machine, there's the casing, and then obviously it needs some feet, so we're going to put some iron rods underneath it. Let's go over here. Again, we're just using a regular iron workbench. We're not using the premium add-on. We're not using the press or the advanced side. We're just going to use just the regular bench. And we're going to grab these 6 pieces of stainless steel and put them in there. And let's throw some feet on it. And voila, there's our fermenter. It is that easy, guys. Let's come over here. Got a great spot for it. So let's go over here, and there's a distillery I placed yesterday. Let's go ahead and put the fermenter in here alongside of it. And as you can see, now this one's empty. There's nothing in there. So we're going to need to load it up with some stuff. So let's see here. We'll use the rest of those black grapes that we had left over from yesterday. We're going to check mark that, and we know we're going to check mark distilled water, but we don't have any distilled water. Alright, so let's do this. If you remember when we looked at the distillery, let's go back over here and just double check. When we looked at the distillery, oh yeah, looky there, some distilled water. Coal and water as a byproduct make distilled water. Alright, Prayer, well how do we get the distilled water out of that thing? Well, let's see here. We've got a couple of, not that box, not this box, empty distilled water barrels. Some water jugs. So let's take this, and we're going to take and set that right there. We'll set that right there. And what do we want to get out of it? Let's get some distilled water. Maybe it goes on this side. There we go. And now we've got 2 distilled waters. Full. Not empty anymore. And it took some of the distilled water out of the machine there. We'll just go ahead and uncheck that. Now if I wanted to put distilled water back in that, let's just show you here. If I was to put coal to it, we would be making some more distilled water. So I know that's not part of this video, but I want some more distilled water, so I'm going to put some coal in there. And let's get some more distilled water cooking. Alright, now that's cooking. Alright, now back over to this guy. It's still making yeast. It's got distilled water. It's got enough. Let's leave that alone. Let's go back over to the new one that we just put down. We're going to go put some distilled water in it. And that way we can start it cooking as well, because I'm running low on yeast, so it's definitely one of those things that I need. We'll put that in there, and there we go. Our distilled water is coming up. We'll just grab those back out of there. So we've got about a half of distilled water. We've got some black grapes. Let's click on this. Yeah, sure enough, we're making some yeast. So that's about all there is to it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to the fermenter, just like the distillery. Again, the link to the wiki on the ingredients, how to make it, is going to be in there. The recipe book, the recipes in the wiki will be in there. Not everything that you're going to find in the wiki is in the game right now, so it does take, or it is going to take a little bit longer to get everything in there. Also, let's talk about, or let me show you, I'm going to make another scoop, so that way I'm not having to run back and forth from one side to the other. Again, just a regular iron workbench. We're going to grab 2 stainless steel. Let's see, I forgot how to make that. So let's go ahead and look in our recipe book. Look at all of our tools here. Let's see if we can't find the yeast scoop in here. Whoop, there it is. Yeast scoop. Alright, so we're going to need a stainless steel rod, and then if you notice, I mean, if you think about it, think about the pattern here. So this is the handle, and then there's the body of the scoop. Kind of self-explanatory the way that those patterns work. So let's go in here, and we're going to put that up there like it shows, and 2 stainless steel for the body, and there's our scoop. Pretty simple. So let's go back over here. We're going to put one back over by this machine, and we'll go back on the other side and put the other one back on the other machine. And that's about it, guys. There's the fermenter in a quick, simple, easy to get to know video. Don't be afraid of it, but most importantly, the question mark's going to tell you what you're making, and the mash hammer is what keeps it from blowing up on you. This is Prayer, and always my catchphrase is, when you're tired of too much vanilla in your Minecraft, it's time for Simcraft. Guys, until next video, thanks for checking it out. Be sure and subscribe to my channel, because there are going to be lots more videos about each of the individual machines coming up real soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.